And the driver's seat features something called, I think, Hyundai, Hyundai, did I just say Hyundai? The car behind me is the new KIA EV6. Now we only had 24 hours with this car and I wasn't able to drive it yesterday. So I only started driving it this morning and wow, what a car. And I'm not really a fan of EVs, but this really got me thinking, you know, why would you even bother buying a Tesla? In Malaysia at least, because Teslas do not come with official aftermarket support. And as all of you know, buying a car is just one part of your ownership experience. Actually, owning it through the next couple of years makes up the chunk of your relationship with your car. And unfortunately, because Tesla doesn't have an official presence in Malaysia, that is not going to be a very nice experience. But not with the KIA EV6 though, because KIA is actually backed up by a formidable company here in Malaysia. If you think Mazda has been having a good presence here in Malaysia, well, KIA is supported by those same guys behind Mazda. Anyway, before we go any further, as usual, a quick word from our sponsor. Hey guys, we'd just like to take a couple of seconds to tell you about the BH Petrol's loyalty program. Now this is unlike any other loyalty program out there because it does not require you to carry the card. That is simply very hard to find, especially when you need it the most. Now with BH Petrol, all you need to do is download an application, go to BH Petrol, pour your petrol, take a receipt and simply scan it with your application. You get 1 e-point for every litre that you pour. So the next time you're at BH Petrol, be sure to download the BH Petrol Loyalty Program application and you can immediately start to collect your points and later redeem it for the many rewards that they have. The KIA EV6 is very obviously a very handsome car, isn't it? Well, it shares some similarities, particularly the platform with the Hyundai Ioniq 5. That's right, it shares its platform with the Hyundai Ioniq 5, though it's a bigger car. But in terms of design though, it's very, very different. So the wheels for starters, 20-inch wheels, obviously designed for efficiency. And then you notice how the door handles simply sit flush with the bodywork. And if I walk towards it, it's supposed to greet me. Well, this is cool, but it's not exactly new technology. And then if you come to the back here, well, the charging port is just out of sight, but I'm supposed to walk towards the car, open it, and then if you touch this, there you go, this is the charging port. So it's automatic, you press this button and it shuts. If you press it again, it opens. So these are the minor things that KIA has thought of that I think is really, really cool. And then the design of the lights too, let me just, does it show? This light strip, it's just beautiful, isn't it? I just love the attention to detail on the KIA EV6. I also like how simple it is. It doesn't try to be overly dramatic. However, it is a very functional design as well. Notice this? These are slits over here to enhance aerodynamic efficiency. Aerodynamics are very important for electric vehicle simply because range is a huge factor, so you can't have too much of resistance that will just affect your range. Then there's smaller things like this as well. This is just a very nice textured touch. I think KIA has done a beautiful job. The front though, let's check that out. Now the front, well, it looks very simple. Of course, there's no grille, everything is shut. And then the daytime running lights in this, let me see if daytime running lights are here. And then there's a radar down here for your adaptive cruise control. And not much else actually. And that is just the appeal of the KIA EV6. It's a very simple yet functional design. It's just really handsome as well. I just love the design, if you can tell. Now the interior is quite obviously a very nice place to be in, and it's made out of recycled materials because hey, that's what EVs are all about, right? Saving the planet. So what better way to save the planet than to use recycled materials? So the entire interior is made out of stuff that has been used before, including the seats. The seats are actually quite nice to look at, very nice to sit on as well. And it has something called, the driver's seat at least, has something called premium relaxation. What is that? Well, there's a button here, and if I press this, it gets into a reclined position at the touch of a button. So voila, this is if you want to spend time just lounging in your KIA EV6. At the touch of a button, it goes back into place quite quickly as well, less than 10 seconds I think. So anyway, the interior, well, you get two large screens facing the driver, and this is quite obviously the meter panel. It gives you all the important readouts, your speed, your range, etc, etc, and this is for your entertainment and onboard settings, etc, etc. This too is actually a touchpad, because not only can I control my audio settings from here, but if I press this, I can now control my air conditioning settings as well. Very nice, very cool thing. Now, haven't seen this in any other car as yet. Now this floating center panel, this center console is actually really cool as well. This dial looking thing, well, this is the gear knob, and this is actually the on-off switch. It's an on-off switch for the car. Not quite a starter button because there's no engine to start, is there? Let's go check out the back seat. The back seats are very obviously quite huge, and the way the seats are positioned, you're actually sitting quite low. As you can see, my knees are quite high up, but it's actually a very comfortable sitting position, and because the floor is flat, so it's quite easy to sit this way too, provided there's nobody sitting next to you. And it's very, one thing I want to point out, that there are USB points positioned inside the seats, Type-C USB points positioned here on the other seat as well. And I really like that the air conditioning vent is positioned on the side. I think this is where passenger air conditioning vents should be positioned rather than at the bottom here, because your legs just get in the way. Now this is how you position an air conditioning vent for your passengers. That is actually really cool. And then you get cup holders, or you just get a storage spot, and then you can access the trunk from here. Very, very cool. I think Hyundai is making human-centric and passenger-centric cars, and quite obviously. Now, as for the boot of the car, automatic obviously, and it's not a very large boot. You know, its position has a hatchback, right? So it's long, it's just not very deep. You do have, the tonneau cover is not in place, but you do actually get a tonneau cover with this as well. Let's see if it's foot operated. Nope. I read somewhere it is, so maybe it's just not in the mood right now. There's not much going on at the front of the car, obviously, because there's an electric motor between the front and at the rear axle. But you do, however, get this tiny-ish frunk, they call it, a forward trunk. So I'm guessing this is probably good enough for some documents and such, not much else, probably for a small laptop too. But hey, it's better than not having anything up front. Storage space is always a good thing. So we're about to go for a drive, but before we do that, I just want you to soak up this ambience. Just listen to this. You can hear that sound of nature. Well, none of the windows are open. Instead, it is fed into the cabin through the speakers, because the Kia EV6 has something called, all these ambient sounds are available for you to select. This calm sea waves. Let me turn up the volume. This is a rainy day. Open air cafe. A warm fireplace. And a snowy village. I'm not sure what this sound is. Sounds like somebody's walking in the snow. But anyway, this is really cool because sometimes you just do not want to listen to music. Sometimes you just want to relax, but it's just way too quiet in here because, hey, EV, right? So this is a cool touch. I quite like this. It's awesome. And then I really like this touchpad over here, which I demonstrated earlier as well. So I can adjust volume from here, or I can just simply turn it off. And I can go back to my air conditioning settings. So that's nice. This controls your ventilation, seat heating, and steering wheel heating. But I find the position of these buttons a bit weird because you tend to rest your palm here and select this, and you can just accidentally select stuff that you don't intend to. So that's a bit of a bummer. Anyway, this is a wireless charge pad. These are always cool. Check out the ambient lighting. These look great at night. So yeah, what else can I show you? Huge storage space, and there is a 3-pin plug at the back there because the Kia EV6 has, similar to the Hyundai actually, a vehicle to load system where you can actually power a lot of your electronics and actually properly power them, so much so that you can actually power up a rice cooker, which requires a heavy load. So yes, Kia EV6 does have the vehicle to load system, so that's awesome. You get a lot of USB points. You get a Type-C USB point, you get a regular USB point, you get more USB points here. And I actually like the fact that there's more storage space at the bottom here. Yeah, and then this mega screens here. Let me show you, what else can I show you? Oh, I can also change this entire thing to white. Voila! But this is a bit of a pain. So like it is, I can also put it on screensaver or split screen. Anyway, it's a very cool car. Yeah, let's go for a drive. The EV6 that we Malaysians get is a fully imported unit from South Korea, of course, and it comes packed with a liquid-cooled lithium-ion battery that gives the car a range of over 500 kilometers. But in the real world, well, it's roughly about 400 plus kilometers, about 480, 470, which is actually quite good. There's also twin electric motors, one at the front axle and one at the back axle, and this gives it a combined system output of about 325 PS and over 600 Newton meters of torque. It's actually quite a fun car to drive, and 0 to 100 is seen off in a little over 5 seconds, and top speed is rated at about 180 plus kilometers per hour. The thing about EVs is you get instantaneous power, but that doesn't last very long. So that's why top speeds are not very highly rated. Now I get a drive mode selector. So if I press this button, I'm in sport mode. Now watch what happens when I put my foot down. Holy mother-in-law. Basket. So yes, it's actually quite a serious car. It accelerates like, oh, let's do that again. Bloody hell. It sounds like it belongs in Star Wars or something. So that's the type of stuff that you can do in an EV, especially a Kia EV6 GT. Yeah, that's right, I said GT because the model that we get in Malaysia comes with the GT pack. So the GT pack includes things like body colored wheels, a more aggressive body kit. Yeah, I just got to do that again. Mother-in-law. So as I was explaining, you can actually select how aggressive your brakes are. So you get two modes for your brakes. You get normal as well as sport. Sport is apparently more optimized for dynamic driving. They're apparently sharper. Oh, check this out. Your calipers turn red. Of course, not in real life. That'd be very, very cool. But yeah, you get what I mean. And then you also get things like active sound design. And this actually just makes the car sound even more aggressive. Actually, not really. It's just louder in here than it is usually, like smallest change. If you put it off, and it's just very, very quiet. And these are the different types of sounds that you have. Stylish, later, and I also wanted to show you vehicle smart regeneration system. So it's strong deceleration, medium deceleration, or gentle deceleration. What this means is if you put it in strong deceleration, it's going to quite aggressively decelerate the car every time you get your throttle off, get your foot off the throttle. So this in turn charges the battery quicker through deceleration. So let's going to try that out shortly. Well, it sounds cooler. It sounds, it still sounds like a Banshee, but or LRT train or MRT train or something of that sort. Sounds like that. Still sounds like that. But deceleration, well, there's not really much different in deceleration, even when you select strong deceleration. Anyway, one thing's for sure though, driving this car really gives your neck a good workout, simply because it accelerates really fast. Anyway, the thing about the Kia EV6, as with all electric vehicles, is charging this thing. The thing is, Kia does not give you a wall box charger. No, Kia Malaysia doesn't give you that. Instead, what they do is they give you a list of fast chargers, DC chargers, that are available around the country to make your life easier. However, they also give you different charging cables to make it easier for you to charge the car at home. But this, unfortunately, can take up to 30 hours to charge your car on a normal power plug at home. However, there are the Type 2 chargers that unfortunately you have to source yourself, that take up to 7 hours to charge the car. But if you have a DC quick charger at home, which you already have installed, the Kia EV6 will need just 17 minutes to charge from 10% state of charge to 100% state of charge. I hope I got that information correct, but that's what I read about the Kia EV6. So yeah, electric vehicles still a long way to go in terms of charging and availability of infrastructure. But as a car, Wow, the EV6 GT is quite a machine. The other thing I really like is that when you turn the signal, look, it shows you what's on your right. That's quite cool. And if you do that on your left, it shows you what's on your left. I'm quite used to making silent exits, but not usually silent entry. Entries are usually noisy. But anyway, this is the KIA EV6 GT. Wow, what a machine, right? Of course, if you have the right charging infrastructure, it can make life very, very awesome because, as I said, 10 to 100%, hey, it takes just a little over 17 to 18 minutes. But if you do not have the right infrastructure for charging this and you're just using a normal wall socket with the Kia supplied cables, unfortunately it's going to take you up to 32 hours to charge it to 100% SOC, state of charge. So that's the unfortunate truth. So if you're going to get the Kia EV6 GT, which I think you should if you're looking at electric cars, because this is quite awesome, quite a nice car, spacious enough for your family. Why bother with a Tesla, right? They don't even come with proper aftermarket support here in Malaysia at least. Then this is the car that you want. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Kashi Dylan and this is the Kia EV6 GT, currently in Malaysia for a little over 300,000 ringgit.